السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. How are you guys? How is everyone? كيف حالك? How are you, Ilyas?
Alhamdulillah, good.
Alhamdulillah, good, and I'm doing good. Alhamdulillah myself. Now it is time for
Story time.
It's story time, but before we do a story time, what are we going to do today? We're going to play with something. What are we going to play with?
Traffic light.
With traffic lights. Okay. So does everybody know that this is a traffic light? Do you know that this is a traffic light?
Yes.
And how many colors are there on a traffic light?
3.
3 colors. What does red mean?
Stop.
And what does green mean?
Go.
And what does yellow mean?
Slow down.
Slow down. But now I'm going to show you different colors of traffic lights. And every time I show you a color, I'm going to ask you to do an action.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. If I show you a blue traffic light, you have to clap your hands and count from 1 to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good job. If I show you a pink traffic light, you have to put your hand on your tummy. And if I show you a gray traffic light, you have to meow like a cat. That looks like is that an evil cat? Yeah, maybe. and if I show you a wooden traffic light, you have to put your hand on slap your knees. You have to slap your knees. Oh. Slap your knees. Yep. Are you guys able to do that? Nice. And if I show you a white traffic light, you have to pretend to fall asleep. خليك جنبي عشان تبان. I think we need a blanket. Do you need a blanket?
No.
Was this silly, you guys? Were you able to follow along? Was it easy?
Yes.
Do you think it was fun?
Hello.
Oh, who's this? What's his name?
Fasih.
Fasih. His name is Fasih, yeah. And now all of us need to relax to get ready for story time. So where do we sit? Where can we sit? On a couch, maybe? Is that maybe?
On an ottoman.
On an ottoman, or maybe on
a bed.
On the bed, or on the ground.
Or on the table.
Nobody sits on the table. Maybe at the table. Also on the chair at the table. How about that?
Chair.
Maybe. Yeah, that's right. And we're going to take 2 deep breaths. Are you ready?
Yeah.
So I think you put Fasih to the side. Now we're going to raise our arms up, take a deep breath, and hold it. Count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you let all of the air out. Now let's do this again. We're going to raise our arms up, take a deep breath, and hold it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and now we let all of it out. All of it. Dude, you're going to fall. And now we're going to start our story. Do you think we're going to have a fun story today? Do you think today's story is fun? Okay. We're going to show them the story later. But are we all opening our ears and our eyes?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Get ready.
Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
All right. Get ready, everyone. We'll be right back. Today's story is called The Elves and the Shoemaker. Retold from the Brothers Grimm and illustrated by Jim. So this is a classic tale, which means it's been told since, I don't know, a long time ago. People have been telling this story. So somebody just made a new book about it, but it's an old tale. And it's illustrated by Jim. All right, so Jim is the illustrator. When we start something new, what do we say? We say Bismillah, mashallah, good job. Bismillah. The Elves and the Shoemaker. There was once a good shoemaker who, through a spell of bad luck, had become very poor. Finally, he had just enough leather to make one last pair of shoes. "Still, it's a fine piece of leather," said his wife, "as soft as butter, just as strong as your hands." "Tonight, dear wife, I will cut the leather, and first thing in the morning I will sew the shoes." Using his tools, can you see the hammer and the nails? The next morning, when the couple went into the workshop, they were so surprised by what they found. They saw the most beautiful pair of shoes that they've ever seen. His wife could only stare. But who did that? Just then, a dandy gentleman walked into the shop. "What magnificent shoes! Please, I must try them on," he said. The shoes fit him perfectly, just as if they were made exactly for him. Now, he was so happy that he paid double the price. Now the shoemaker had enough money to buy leather for 2 pairs of shoes. Again that evening, the shoemaker cut out the leather enough for 2 shoes. But when he woke up in the morning, he saw 4 beautiful shoes. Can you guys see the designs? They're amazing. One of them actually looks like a fish. It's pretty cool, huh? On and on it went. Whatever the shoemaker cut out in the evening was finished in the morning. Soon the news of the splendid shoes spread throughout the town, and the shoemaker and his wife were no longer poor. One evening, in a very, very cold day, the shoemaker was cutting leather shoes. His wife said, "Dear husband, who has made us so rich? What if we were to stay up tonight and watch?" The shoemaker agreed, so they lit a small lamp in the hall and they hid behind their coats. And they waited as the clock struck midnight. Dun! They heard the creak of a window and they heard footsteps of 2 tiny people. Then they saw 2 children sneak to the workshop. They were wearing ripped clothes. "Elves," said the shoemaker. The tiny elves tiptoed across the room and climbed up onto the table. Then, humming and whispering, they began to stitch and sew and hammer so quickly with their little fingers that the shoemaker could not believe his eyes. See how they're working? Because the cat can just meow. The next morning, the wife said, "The little elves have made us rich. We must give them something in return. They run around with so little all day, must be freezing. I will make a warm dress, coat, and pants, and knit them each a pair of stockings." "And I shall be happy to make each a pair of fine shoes," said the shoemaker. They went right to work, and that evening they hid the presents on the work table. Then, like before, they hid behind the coats and waited. At midnight, the elves quietly slipped into the shop, ready for another day's work. But instead of the pieces of leather, they found the beautiful presents that the shoemaker and his wife had left for them. At first, they were too surprised to move, and then they hugged their clothes, and they were warm, and then they started quickly putting them on. And when they were dressed, they leaped and bounced around the room, singing, "Ooh, doo, 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 doo." And they jumped over chairs and raced around the shops and finally ran out the door. The click and clack of their new shoes echoed through the streets. From that time on, the little elves were not seen again, but the shoemaker and his wife lived a long and a happy life. The end. Did you guys enjoy the story? I hope you did. Are elves real though? No, nobody can do our work for us, but it's just a nice tale, right? Who are the main characters in the story? Well, the elves and the shoemaker and his wife. Were there other characters that you saw there? Well, there was the cat and the people who were shopping for shoes. And where did this story happen? Well, it happened in a little town, and especially in the shoemaker's house, right? All right, I'm glad you guys stayed in and listened to the story, and I will see you in another Storytime video. Until then, please stay safe, wash your hands, and I will meet with you again, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.